Okay. It recently rained in Freetown this December, and my aunts, like many Freetonians out there, keep saying, it's a shower of blessing. And I wonder, how can I tell her that this is actually not a shower of blessing? It is not a blessing. How can I tell her that it should not be raining during the dry season? How can I explain to her the complicated water cycle, the relationship between the oceans, climate, and weather patterns? This rain in December is not so different from the catastrophic mudslide and floodings that have occurred over the recent years. But I ask myself, does my aunt really need to understand this complicated water cycle in order to effect change as a mother, woman, or responsible citizen? Recently, I took a walk around Lumley Beach, and among the first things I saw were baby diapers and disposable sanitary pads. And we Freetonians love going to the beach, and you can testify that this is something you see when you go there. We dump these things into the gutters thinking, it's gone. Here's a big secret. It comes back, but this time to pollute our beautiful beaches. Ladies and women present here today, do you know how many sanitary pads you use during your lifetime? And do you know where they end up? According to absorbent manufacturers' menstrual hygiene product, a single woman like me and you uses and discards between 11,000 to 16,000 sanitary pads. That's huge. These pads are made out of non-biodegradable plastic, and they take between 800 to 1,000 years to decompose. The issue of period poverty is globally prevalent, but most of our period blood ends up on disposable pads, which ends up in our gutters, which ends up on the beaches, polluting our environment. I'm Haja Isatu Bah, and today I'm going to tell you about how education impacted me to take action for the environment. I create and run a social enterprise called Omen for Omen. We are tackling the issue of period poverty among young girls and women in Sierra Leone by providing them with affordable and sustainable menstrual products. But we are also protecting the environment and our oceans and coastlines from disposable pads. Let me tell you where all the secret lies: the power of education. I attended St. Joseph's Convent, Esther Fidelis. I was born and raised in the Brookfields community, and most of my teaching about the environment was through my science classes. I learned about photosynthesis, the carbon cycle, the food chain, etc., etc. Unlike my twin sisters and friends who were in the arts and commercial stream, they did not have the opportunity to learn anything about the environment. In 2015, things changed. I got a scholarship to study in Norway. And I had the opportunity to take classes like development studies where I learned about the environment. I was involved in extracurricular activities like Safuge and LEAF, where I worked with local communities to work on the issue of climate change. But during these 2 years, one thing that really stood to me was the availability of so many menstrual products. There were pads of different sizes, there were tampons, there were reusable menstrual cups. And I said to myself, why do girls and women in Sierra Leone lack this? In 2017, I moved to Skidmore College, New York for my undergraduate studies. And I decided to major in environmental studies, not because it was what I wanted, but because of the 2017 mudslide that took away the lives of over 1,000 Sierra Leoneans and displaced thousands more. I kept on asking myself, what could we have done to prevent that? Why did it happen? But most importantly, what can we do to ensure that disasters like this do not happen anymore? So with these environmental studies classes, I took interdisciplinary courses that helped me merge my passion for feminism, environment, and development. But one thing was at the back of my mind: the menstrual products in Norway. So I decided to do a research among Fula women in Sierra Leone, mostly my family members. how did they manage their periods when they were young? I wanted to know. I wanted to hear the first-hand experience. Interestingly, I learned from my mom that disposable pads were introduced in Freetown in the 80s, 1980s. That's very recent. And by then, only the rich and privileged could afford it. So a woman like my mom and aunt never used the disposable pad. They check the lapade, put her inside and drawers where they see them period. So I said to myself, this is not revolutionary like I thought it was. This idea already existed. Women used reusable pads. But this time, with my environmental studies background, I want to make it more sustainable and healthier. So I launched Omen for Omen. And we are not only selling pads, but also teaching girls through our programs about menstrual hygiene and how to take action for climate change. Since we started selling in December 2020, we've sold over 3,000 units. That sounds very small. But what does this mean? It means that we've helped 3,000 young girls transition from disposable pads to reusable pads. This means that we, as Omen for Omen, are preventing millions of disposable pads from ending up in our oceans and beautiful beaches. And I say to myself, the secret all lies in education. Can you imagine if every one of us here was taught about climate change at an early age? Going to primary school, like how they teach you ABC 1, 2, 3, they tell us this plastic takes years to decompose. So what you have to do is do not use it, don't pollute the environment. I say to myself, we do not need to understand all these complicated carbon cycles and water cycles. But yes, what we need to understand is the consequences of our actions. And it is possible because we already have young Sierra Leoneans like me doing it. Look at Alhaji Siraj Jallo. Through his company, Rogsar, he's making sustainable briquettes for Sierra Leoneans. We have Rosalind Mansari, a climate activist, mobilizing her community, teaching them about climate change. Mariatu Kanu, like me, is working with girls and women to teach them about menstrual hygiene and providing them with reusable pads. So it is possible, and here is what we can do as a city. Through formal education, ensure that we implement environmental education in our classrooms. You do not have to be in the science stream to learn about the environment. You can do art stream, you can do commercial, and still learn and understand about the environment. Through extracurricular activities, like I learned during my time in Norway, we work together with local communities to recycle plastic, to recycle clothes, and learn more about the environment. And community-led actions, like what a Freetonian, by example, is doing, Jamie Yayabari. He's mobilizing communities, not only in Freetown, but Senegal, Dakar, to teach them about climate change. So it is doable. In 1977, just like the mayor is doing, one of my greatest role models, Wangari Maathai, came together to form the Green Belt movement in Kenya. And up to date, that movement has planted over 47 million trees. Look at Limpopo in South Africa. They are working together with secondary school teachers, the Ministry of Environment, and other key institutions to implement environmental education in secondary schools. Look at Kigali, Rwanda. They banned plastic in 2005. Look at cities like Kampala and Nairobi switching from disposable to reusable sanitary pads. What we do not know, we do not understand because we're not taught. And once we don't understand, we cannot make change. But as Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful tool or weapon we can use to change the world. And I am challenging each and every one of us here today. Whether you're young, whether you're in university, whether you're in a position of power or not, it's not too late to learn about climate change and take action. Look around you, everything you do every day, how it affects the climate, and try to educate yourself. Because Freetown, like many cities, need climate action now. Now me and you get for fix Mama Salon. Thank you.